So, okay, without further ado, I'm so excited today because my dear Didi, who I have so much respect for and have known for so many years, and really looked up to, and I know many, many other girls like me always looked up to because she's so senior and always setting such a beautiful example. Um, she's on today, Candrika Didi, and so just some basics about Didi. She's from the UK, and she's been practicing Krishna consciousness since '91. And I request Didi to speak about how she came to Krishna consciousness and give us more in depth on her background. She met Srila Gurudeva in '96, and I believe got initiated in '96 from Srila Gurudev, and since then she's been so dedicated and spent so many years with him. I know personally I've seen her preaching around the world. When I believe when we were in Europe, she was also preaching in Europe. And in the UK, she has preached in the US. She's come to Houston as well. So I've seen her all around the world preaching so boldly, just like Srila Gurudev always instructed his daughters to preach boldly. And, we have so many beautiful examples of that, including Didi. So right now she's continuing her preaching on a virtual level with a session, weekly session, I think weekly or bi-weekly, I'm not sure.
Well, it's weekly for Bhakti Basics and alternate weeks for the Gurudev Vaishnavi Prachar. Yeah.
Okay, so weekly and bi-weekly, two programs. And so the Bhakti Basics program I've been on, and it's really beautiful. Again, giving so many different speakers a chance to develop, speaking katha and learn. So that's really special as well. And the other one I don't know much about, so Didi can tell us more. But without further ado, I'd like to ask Didi to come, and I guess if you can start with a little bit of your background and how you came to Krishna consciousness and how you came to Gurudev, and then your beautiful memories. I'm sure you have so many memories with Gurudev. We'd be blessed. Hare Krishna.
Hi, Didi, and pranams to you and to all who are on this program today. So I'll just say my pranam mantras. Amagina Tamandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshumali Tamyena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnubadaya Radhikaya Priyapane Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Dinamane Vanchikalpajubhyascha Kripasinnavevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Gove Gochandraya Vadikaye Tadalaye Krishnaye Krishna Bhaktaye Tat Bhaktaye Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Shiko Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So before I begin, I'd like to offer my humble, most respectful obeisances. Again and again, I offer my heart like flowers at the dust of the lotus feet of my Gurudev, Om Vishnu Pad Astotarasata Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaj. And at the same time, I offer my humble, most respectful obeisances time and time again at the dust of the lotus feet of my Param Gurudevs, Nitya Lila Bhushan Pad, Astotarasata Shishimad, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, and Nitya Lila Bhushan Pad, Astotarasata Shishimad, Bhakti Pragyan, Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and unto all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis and all assembled devotees here, I offer my Dandavat pranams. So happy that Ajay Prabhu kindly invited me to speak on this forum. It's always very, very nice to get an opportunity to remember Gurudev and all the exchanges that one has had with him. And wow, it's always so sweet to dive deeply into those memories. So as and Hari Didi, I'm so grateful to you also for hosting. She's my very dear Didi, and yeah, I always look forward to seeing her, even if it's not face to face. It's nice on this forum also. So yeah, I'm not any of those things that she said about me in the beginning. Very, very insignificant. But, you know, we're so indebted to our beloved Gurudev. He's given us so much. So if I can repeat just a little of memories I had, teachings that he gave me, then in that way I can at least try to, we can never actually repay Gurudev, but we can try to please him in some way. So as Hari Didi asked, you know, I'd like to give a little background on how I came to this path of Krishna Bhakti. I mean, I think it's always interesting to hear from each and every one, you know, how we actually finally, after so many, could be millions of births in this material world, started on our path of Krishna Bhakti. Or maybe we started in previous lives, but at least in this life, how we came. So to begin with, okay. So when I was very young, I had a natural belief in God, and I used to talk to God quite often in my little like childish way. And, you know, I didn't understand why God wasn't talking back to me. And I thought one day, oh, maybe God isn't hearing what I'm saying to him, and how can I get him to hear? So then I thought, well, maybe I should write things down. So, you know, express my heart in writing, and then maybe he'll see. So I wrote a note to God and I put it on my window ledge, hoping that he would see it. And I don't know if he saw it, but my mother certainly did. And she thought it was very funny, you know. So then she shared with family members, and they all had a good joke about it, you know. So that kind of put me off, unfortunately. But anyway, as I was growing up,
What did you want to say to God?
Oh, what did I want to say to God? I can't remember at that time. It was probably not like that significant, but I guess I wanted to express my heart to him, that, you know, he was there and he was seeing me and hearing me like that, you know. But
Yeah.
I can't remember specifically. I was very young. I don't know, maybe it was 5, 6, 7, I don't know.
Wow.
Anyway, so when I was growing up, my mother used to take me to church, and I used to find it quite boring. But anyway, I understood somehow it was a good thing, you know. But after some time, she stopped taking me, and maybe it's because my father was an atheist, I don't know. Anyway, the neighbor who lived across the road from us, she was a good Christian, and she encouraged my mother to send me to Sunday school. So my mother asked me, I was like, yeah, okay, why not? You know, that was a bit more exciting, you know, so I went. And after some time, the people in charge there, they said, oh, we're short on teachers. Would you like to start teaching? And I was like, okay. So then, you know, from a young age, I was like teaching in Sunday school. Sunday school is like a Christian kind of school. a bit more laid back than church, I suppose. Anyway, so I was really happy to teach there, and I carried on for some time. But when I came about 14, 15 years old, I became like a bit rebellious, and I didn't get so much into religion anymore. But sometimes my family, they used to discuss different subject matters, especially around the dinner table when we were taking dinner. And I remember one time they brought up, about reincarnation, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And I thought to myself, well, I'd like to really find out more about reincarnation sometime in my life, So anyhow, when I got to 17 years old, I ended up running away from home. And I went from Liverpool to London. And I was living with some people there. And luckily they were very spiritually inclined. So they used to always be discussing all kinds of spiritual subjects. And one time they brought up about karma, and I never even heard of karma, really. And I was like, oh yeah, what's that? And they explained, and I was like, wow, that makes sense. So then they invited me to lectures around London about karma and reincarnation and all these things, and I was so interested. Like, that became my sole interest, like meditation, karma, reincarnation, any subject, any spiritual subject like that. So then at that time, I only collected spiritual books. I wasn't interested in any other books. So I had a whole bookshelf of spiritual books. And, I would read them from time to time. At that time, also, I one time was on my way to college. I was studying psychology and sociology. And a devotee stopped me in the street, and he kind of cornered me, and he put these books in my hand, and I was like, okay, what's this? And then he asked for a donation. I was like, I gave him like all my change. And I remember that day, I think it was my dinner money, not dinner, my lunch money. I didn't have lunch that day. But anyway, I got these great, seem like good books, perfect questions and perfect answers, and another book I can't remember. So I was really attracted to the title of that, perfect questions and answers. But I didn't really get so much into that at that time, because maybe I had so many other books as well. So around that time as well, my friends took me to the Hare Krishna temple in London, Soho Street, and I got chatting with a devotee there, and I thought, oh, this is really interesting, this philosophy, and had many questions, and they gave good answers. But then I also thought, wow, these Hare Krishnas, they seem to be quite negative, in their thinking, saying that material life is full of miseries, and okay. So anyway, somehow or another, I had a friend, and my friend, she invited me for a walk with the Hare Krishna devotees from Wembley in London to Bhaktivedanta Manor. It was kind of like a protest thing, and they wanted to close the Bhaktivedanta Manor or something. Anyway, so I went, and I remember arriving at the Bhaktivedanta Manor, which was donated by George Harrison to the devotees. And I was looking around and saying, wow, what a fantastic place. And all these devotees here, and they're chanting and practicing spiritual life. Wow, I should join them. So I was thinking to myself, I should ask, just ask if I can live here. But I just couldn't bring myself to. For some reason, maybe it wasn't my time. So after a few more years of Maya, whatever, then I was, like I said before as well, I was studying psychology and sociology. And one day I remember asking my psychology professor, What's more important, psychology or spirituality? And he looked at me like, wow, what a question. And he didn't know what to say, so he didn't answer. So then I said, oh, I know, it's spirituality. And after the next day, I mean, I didn't go back to college after that. I thought there's no point, So then, I wanted to follow a spiritual path, but I realized, there's so many spiritual paths, and I had all these different books and so many religions and different spiritual philosophies, So, actually, I forgot to mention as well, when I was 18, I went to India for the first time, and I was searching for a spiritual path. I went to a yoga ashram and so many different temples and places, but I couldn't find what I was looking for. So I returned back to London, and I was living with a friend, and I remember, I don't know how this happened, but I mean, I didn't take any drugs at all. I wasn't like intoxicated or anything, but I just, all of a sudden, I went into this other dimension, and I was just in this other dimension, and I was like, oh wow, and then I was like in I can't explain it, but a completely different space to what would normally be used to, and I was communicating on a completely different way with someone, like God, I don't know, and then I received this like voice, like heard this voice, and it was really loud and clear, and it said, you have to choose one spiritual path. And it was so clear. So then I thought, okay, I gradually came out of that state, and then I thought, yes, okay, I have to choose one spiritual path, but which spiritual path? I just didn't know. So then after that, I hitchhiked around Europe on my own with no money and a backpack full of spiritual books. And I was looking at so many different paths, like Islam, Buddhism, Christianity, all kinds of different religions and spiritual paths. And again, I couldn't find what I was looking for. Then I returned to UK, and then I ended up on this Christian community, and I started again to read the Bible, but it didn't really satisfy me. It wasn't answering all my questions. So then I went to live in the north of England, Newcastle, and there was a Hare Krishna temple. So then my friend, who I was working with in a vegetarian restaurant, I was vegetarian from when I was 17, just before I left home, I became vegetarian. So, my friend invited me to the local Hare Krishna temple, and I was going, and I liked the kirtan, I liked the lectures. But, I wasn't sure that this was the right path for me or anything. So then one day, there was a Padiatra party. They came through, and they put on this whole festival. And, they had kirtan, lecture, and there was a Bharatanatyam dance. And at the end, there was a drama. And I was watching this drama, and it was actually really well done. Like this one devotee, Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, is a professional actor and devotee, and so I was in complete awe watching it. I thought, wow. But the message of that drama, it really got to me, and it completely transformed my heart. I thought, wow, this is it. I thought, finally, I found what I'm looking for. That this is the true path. This is my path. So then I was really excited. And at the end of the festival, they said, we're going on a walk for peace, and if anyone would like to come, they're welcome. And of course, that was Padiatra. So I thought, yes, I'm going, and then I talked to one of the devotees, and I thought, okay, maybe I have to tie up a few things in my life, and then I made an arrangement to join them after a couple of weeks, So then I was going on Padiatra with the devotees, and it was fantastic, chanting in the going these bulls and a cart, and carrying Gaunitai deities, and all the devotees chanting, continuous chanting, and I was in complete ecstasy. and then they were some devotees giving out prasadam, some flyers, books, and from practically the beginning, I was like giving out prasadam, giving out flyers, books. I didn't know anything, but somehow distributing those books. So, of course, from that time on, there was no looking back, and I fully joined, and yeah, we traveled through Europe, and the following year, I ended up in Bhaktivedanta Manor, living there, did the Bhakti course. And anyhow, while I was living there, I developed a close friendship with one lady, a devotee called Didi, and she was a disciple of Gurudev. So she happened to be living there in the ashram at that time. So she used to talk to me about Harikatha that she'd heard from Gurudev. And there was also not only me, Jiva Parvana Prabhu's wife, Anuradha Didi, and another devotee, Rangadevi Didi. They later became initiated by Gurudev and got those names. And we were all listening to this Harikatha that Indra Didi had heard from Gurudev, and we were like in complete rapt attention. And especially, she would tell like the beautiful sweet pastimes that she'd heard from Gurudev, and we were like, wow, we've never heard anything like this before. So we were always looking forward to hearing this Harikatha. So anyway, I remember seeing a photo of Gurudev that Indra Didi had on an altar, and I was really attracted. I thought, oh yes, he definitely seems like a pure devotee. I thought for sure he's a pure devotee now. So then, am I talking too fast, by the way?
I don't think so. Ajay Prabhu, what do you think?
It's good, I think. But
Okay.
slower is better, actually. If it's slow.
Okay.
I also
Well,
want to tell one more thing to all the viewers, that today we're going to show a lot of pictures and some videos also. She has given me a lot of material. Also, she said she started with a drama, and she herself acted in a lot of dramas, which I've got pictures I'm going to show you later. And in one of the pictures, she's even become Gurudev. I think she's wearing a sannyas dress. It's going to be very interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So also Indra Didi, she gave me some of Gurudev's books, and I started to read them, as well as Govinda Maharaj books, around the same time. So I was thinking, these two Vaishnavas are definitely pure devotees. And I remember Sridam Prabhu, he was at Bhaktivedanta Manor, and I remember he went to take initiation, and he wasn't sure whether he was going to take initiation from Govinda Maharaj or Srila Gurudev. And I remember thinking at that time, I was still really like, how to say, in ISKCON, still kind of afraid to leave ISKCON. And I thought, oh, maybe he should take initiation from Govinda Maharaj and not someone outside of ISKCON. That was my thinking at that time. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh yeah. So then later on, I was in India, and I was in ISKCON Mayapur, and at the same time, Indra Didi was in Devananda Gaudiya Mat in Navadvip. And she'd said to me, oh, you know, sometime I can introduce you to my Gurudev. And I was like, yes, why not, please. So she came over to ISKCON, and she took me over to Devananda Gaudiya Mat in Navadvip to meet Gurudev. And that was in 1994. It was when I met him for the very first time, face to face. And she took me to his room, and you know, I paid my Dandavat Pranams. And you know, I was a little shy at that time, and Gurudev was asking me questions, you know, where do you live? And I can't remember all the questions. And so I was answering, and I was looking into his beautiful blue eyes and thinking, yeah, you know, he's definitely a pure devotee. But I hadn't been initiated up until that time. At that time I'd been about 3 years in ISKCON, but still hadn't found a guru. But I wasn't thinking to, you know, leave ISKCON again. So then in 1995, I got married and I lived outside the temple with my husband. And in 1996, I'd been in ISKCON for 5 years, and I still hadn't found a guru. I'd actually met many ISKCON gurus, and there was 3 in particular. First one, and then another, and then another, who I was aspiring to take initiation from, but you know, I don't know, somehow I had some doubts when I questioned them, or they didn't satisfy me. And anyway, I've always been a perfectionist by nature, which is maybe not so good in material terms, you know, if it's like for material pursuits, but spiritually, that's good. That I only wanted to find the perfect guru, you know, without any faults, or you know, just completely pure and perfected. So I couldn't find in ISKCON, and I thought, oh, do I have to accept a guru who's not perfect like Srila Prabhupada, or what? And I thought, oh, I don't know what to do. You know, I have to take initiation at some point. So I began praying and praying and praying to Nityananda Prabhu, and Radha and Krishna in Radha Gokulananda and Bhaktivedanta Manor. I was really, really praying, please send a pure guru who I can take shelter of, take initiation from. So I was almost like giving up hope when Indaleka Didi, she told me that Gurudev would be coming to England for the first time. So he came out of India, he went to Holland, and after going to Holland, came to England. And Indaleka Didi, she told me that he would be giving lectures at the village hall, which was just down the road from Bhaktivedanta Manor. And she invited me to go. So then, you know, I was quite excited. And actually, in Bhaktivedanta Manor at that time, they'd warned devotees, you know, if you go to hear from Srila Narayana Maharaj, you can never come back, you know, it was like kicked out. But luckily, it was like an arrangement. I'd gotten married and living outside. So if I was a brahmachari in the ashram, I probably wouldn't have gone. Who knows? So then anyhow, I went along with my husband, and I had some of the classes of Gurudev. And I remember I couldn't understand a lot of what Gurudev was saying because of his accent. But some things I could clearly understand. And in one class, he was speaking about Shri Guru Charana Padma, this song by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. And he came to the line, Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoiti Avidya Vinasayate. And then he asked the question to the audience there, that in this song, it says, Prema Bhakti will come, will manifest, and all avidya will go. But what comes first? Is it that all avidya or all anartas will be cleansed from the heart, and then Prema Bhakti will come? Or Prema Bhakti will come and the heart will be cleansed? So then I thought, wow, this is quite an interesting question. And I'd had a kind of similar question myself, and I'd asked the temple president in Bhaktivedanta Manor something similar. And he said, oh, maybe like both at the same time. I can't remember. But so different devotees, they were answering. Most devotees, I think, the same. Well, first, our heart must be completely cleansed of all anartas, all avidya, and then Bhakti will come. So then Gurudev said, no. He said, first, Prema Bhakti will come, and then all avidya will go. And that is why Srila Narottam Das Thakur wrote first, Prema Bhakti ya hoiti avidya vinasayate, like that. So he wrote, Prema Bhakti will come, then avidya will go, in that order. So I was so happy and relieved to hear this, as previously I was worried, maybe after millions and billions of lifetimes, when all my anartas are thoroughly cleansed from my heart, I might gradually get Bhakti. So anyhow, that lecture really touched my heart, and I continue to go for a few more lectures. And one evening after one lecture, Shamarani Didi approached me, and she said, oh, it's really good that you've been coming to Maharaja's classes. Are you going to continue? What are your plans now? Because I had a relationship with Shamarani Didi before in ISKCON. I'd go to her from time to time and ask her questions like that. So I guess at that time I'd been covered over, and I said, well, actually, we're planning to go on traveling book distribution tomorrow, because that was my service with my husband at that time. And she said, oh, really? But Gurudev is going to continue giving classes for another 2-3 days here, so you don't want to come? And I said, well, I can't really understand what Maharaj is speaking for the most part, and I can't neglect my service of book distribution. So then she said, well, have you met Gurudev personally yet? Oh, she said, Maharaj, have you met Maharaj personally yet? Have you had like a personal darshan? And I said, no. And she said, well, if you want, I can arrange. And I said, really? You can arrange? And she said, yes. And then she said, well, I can try to arrange for tomorrow. And I said, okay, great. So it was like Gurudev's way of maybe capturing me through Shamarani Didi. So yeah, I thought, well, you're definitely worth staying for that. So then Gurudev at that time, he was staying in Sridham Sakha Prabhu's place. And, it was a small place, just maybe, I think, 3-bedroom place. It was small living room, and everyone was really packed into that room. And when Gurudev would give lectures there, that was after he'd spoken at the village hall. He spoke there. So anyway, I went to his house for a darshan of Gurudev, and I was waiting downstairs, and Shamarani Didi, she approached me, and she said, okay, it's good that you're here. And actually, Gurudev, he's upstairs alone, and maybe you can go and speak to him now. And actually, I was planning to go with my husband, but I thought, well, why, forego this opportunity? So then I ran up the stairs and I went to Gurudev's room, and he was on his own. And paid my pranams. It was just me and Gurudev, like face to face. And so I had this like burning question that I really wanted to ask Gurudev. And I thought, wow, now's my opportunity. So I said, Gurudev, you know, in this song that you were explaining, Shri Guru Charana Padma, you said that, Narottam Das Thakur is explaining that song, that your guru is your guru birth after birth. Chakudana Diloye, Jami Jami Prabhu say. And so, you know, there was this kind of conception in ISKCON and, you know, generally that your guru comes for you in this birth and he'll be your guru again, birth after birth. And I was thinking, okay, so then, you know, how do I recognize my guru then? You know, I had this kind of conception like that. So then I asked Gurudev, and I said, how can I recognize who is my guru? You know, and then Gurudev, he you know, gave me really like serious glance, and then he started to answer this question. And I remember standing there and he was answering this question, and he said so many things, and unfortunately I can't remember everything that he said at this time, but I definitely can remember one thing he said. And he said really loudly and clearly, he said, Gurudev. No, he said, you cannot go and search and find Guru yourself, but Guru will come directly to you, and he will come knocking on your door. So then I looked at Gurudev like, oh, you know, that again, Gurudev would completely like turn my mind and heart around, and I was like, wow. And then I thought, I looked at Gurudev and I was thinking, wow, then are you my guru? Like this, I was thinking, maybe you're my guru, who I've been searching for. So then I wanted to ask one more question. And I remember Gurudev in one lecture, he'd been talking about Vidoida Balya. And I was thinking, no, I've not really heard this term before. And I couldn't remember what he'd said about it. And I said, Gurudev, what is this Vidoida Balya? What does it mean? Like weakness of heart? And Gurudev answered, can't remember exactly what he said. But I remember after that, I said, you know, I would like to take shelter of you, but I'm afraid of leaving ISKCON. I was just really open and honest with him. And then Gurudev said, this is Vidoida Balya. He said, this is weakness of heart, you know. So then I thought, yes, he's absolutely right. So then the next day, my husband and I had darshan of Gurudev. It was, you know, that time when Shamrani Didi arranged, and I was really excited. And I remember my former husband then, he was sitting on one side of the room and I was kind of sitting on the, we weren't sitting kind of together. It was kind of funny, but and then Gurudev was there. It was just the three of us. And then I remember I was speaking to Gurudev something, but I remember my husband, my former husband, he really opened his heart to Gurudev and he really started pouring his heart out, you know, really expressing like what was on his mind, his fears, worries, doubts, everything, you know. So then I remember Gurudev looking at him, and he was looking at him with such compassion, you know. It was like I looked at Gurudev and I thought, wow, you know, the how you say, the compassion that was coming from Gurudev's heart was so overwhelming that it completely not only touched my heart, melted my heart. And I just started to cry. And then when I was crying, then Gurudev immediately looked at me and he said, if you want initiation, I'll give you initiation like this. And at that time, I was ready. So because I knew at that time, I knew before I knew, yes, Gurudev is a pure devotee, but I always had this fear of leaving ISKCON and my service in ISKCON. But then I had no fear. I was like, yes, I'm ready. I said, yeah, okay. And Gurudev said, come in the morning like this. So I remember I was really excited. But, at that time, I was thinking, I don't want everyone in ISKCON to find out. I won't be able to go there or something, maybe I could just keep it quiet. But then there was one disciple of Srila Prabhupada, maybe won't mention his name, but he was coming to Gurudev that time, but he wasn't like, fully taking shelter, surrendered, or anything. He was just coming, hearing the lectures. And he'd found out that I was going to take initiation. And there was a group of devotees. He was speaking to them, and I kind of came along, and he said, in front of them all, he said, oh, I've heard that you're going to take initiation from Srila Narayana Maharaj. And I said, well, yes. He said, do you know what you're doing? And I said, well, I think so. Anyway, but later on, that sannyasi who said that to me, he took complete shelter of Gurudev. He took shiksha and sannyas. So it was just interesting, how Gurudev captured everyone's hearts like that, even those who were afraid or had doubt like that. So anyway, I was going to the classes at Sridham Sakabu's place. And, there were always so interesting classes that Gurudev was giving. And I remember thinking, wow, this is like so full of nectar. And at that time he was speaking like maybe tattva, some lila. And, if he spoke tattva, it was just so full, it was so complete. It was so deep. And if he spoke lila, it was so sweet, like I'd never heard before. And, to me, like, reading Krishna book, it was all very theoretical in a sense, or hearing Krishna's pastimes and, the temple there. But when I had started to hear from Gurudev, it was, it was real. So, and just so unbelievably sweet. So anyway, I remember at that time as well, I was still thinking, to keep everything quiet. But the temple president from ISKCON, Bhaktivedanta Manor, I should say, had come. And I was thinking, wow, he's come and he's wanting to hear Gurudev's classes. But then I saw him in the class writing, and I thought, wow, he's even taking notes. He must be really interested. I saw him looking around, and actually he was looking to see who was in that class and taking note of the devotees' names who were going to hear from Gurudev. So anyway, I was quite shocked. So move on. I traveled with Gurudev throughout England, and we went to so many places, and it was just so wonderful to travel with Gurudev and hear his lectures and get darshan with him, speak with him. It was just amazing. So then at some point during the tour, I'd been considering, before I met, like, Gurudev had come, and I was planning to go to America to meet with one ISKCON sannyasi who I was kind of aspiring to take initiation from, but wasn't sure, but I'm thinking to check him out, you know. But then Shamarani Didi said to me, well, why don't you go on Gurudev's tour in America? He's going to America, traveling all over. Why don't you come? So then I said, yes, why not? I was going to go to America anyway, so best I just go with Gurudev. But still, I booked my ticket to go back in time for the ISKCON Rathayatra, because I had this little this attachment, you know. I loved Rathayatra. Anyway, so I began traveling with Gurudev in America. It was just so amazing, and I saw how so many ISKCON devotees were coming to Gurudev, and like I said before, it just took one glance sometimes, you know, receiving his merciful glance or hearing his his Harikatha, Tatvazadand, or Leela Katha, and that was it. You know, once that touched anyone's heart, even the hardest of hearts, then that devotee was completely captured and there was no return. So then, you know, I was just like so excited, like this is my new life. I just wanted to travel with Gurudev everywhere. Wherever he went, I thought, that's it. I want to be with him always, and continue to hear his sweet Harikatha. So then, you know, I felt that what was I going to say? One point that I really was impressed with is that, you know, in ISKCON, there was many devotees, myself included, who maybe had so many misconceptions, and Gurudev completely smashed those misconceptions and enlightened us as to, you know, the real Tattva-Siddhanta. And like I said before, that, you know, Gurudev, when he'd speak on Leela Katha, he'd say, oh, you should all come with me to Braj, where that naughty boy Krishna is entering the homes of the gopis and stealing their butter. But not butter, but he's greedy to taste their pure love and affection. And in this way, Gurudev would speak and he would just capture everyone's hearts. So like this, I was traveling with Gurudev, and then it came to the time when my return ticket was there, and I thought, oh, what have I done? I'm so stupid, I'm so foolish. Why did I book my ticket to go back for the ISKCON Rathayatra? Okay, it's nice, but being with Gurudev is like out of this world, you know. So then I thought, anyway, I can't change my ticket. What can I do? I approached Gurudev and I said, Gurudev, we were on the West Coast of America, San Francisco, somewhere, can't remember. Anyway, so, and I said, oh, Gurudev, you know, I have, my return ticket is for whenever it was tomorrow or whatever. And, you know, I have to go back. And I said, I don't want to go back, but my ticket is there. And Gurudev said, well, why don't you stay? No need to go back. And then Gurudev, and I said, but Gurudev, you know, I can't change my ticket. And I didn't have the money. And anyway, I was just like so heartbroken. And I remember saying to Gurudev at that time as well, I said, Gurudev, you know, I'm married, but I don't want children. And Gurudev said, why not? Then why did you get married? And I said, I don't know. And anyway, Gurudev was probably happy. But so then I reluctantly went back. I went back for this Rathayatra, and it was ridiculous because I was so jet lagged that I didn't quite make it in time for the whole Rathayatra, but I kind of got the tail end. Anyway, and all the devotees were like, oh, you know, we've heard you've taken initiation for Srila Narayana. And I thought, okay, you know. So I understood that, you know, my place was completely with Gurudev, and I should just carry on traveling with him when I, you know, if I can, everywhere he goes. So so that was, you know, my plan. And luckily I had a husband who was in full support of that. He happily paid for my tickets to travel everywhere with Gurudev. And I remember on one tour, Gurudev approaching him, and he said, oh, I am so happy that you are sending my darling daughter everywhere with me. So like that, Gurudev was very happy that I was traveling on the tours. And, you know, I like to do dramas. So, I always liked dramas. Not that I did many dramas or anything in my life at that time, but I liked dramas. And I had a desire to perform dramas, but never really got an opportunity. And you know, obviously it would be best to do that in service. So I never thought that it would be possible to do for Gurudev at all. But in, I think it was 1997, it was like the following year, Gurudev's tour, then Sharma Priya Didi from Canada, she asked me to be in a drama that she'd written, and it was about the reasons for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's descent. So she asked me to play Radharani in that drama, because one part of the drama was based on Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Svapna Vilasamritam, I think it's called. Anyway, you know, it was Radharani's dream of how Krishna taken the form of Mahaprabhu, but she wasn't aware at that time it was Krishna taking the form of Mahaprabhu. But anyway, I you know, really was excited to play this role and to, you know, to be part of this drama for Gurudev. And so I was playing the part of Srimati Radhika, and, you know, everything I spoke, I enacted. You know, it was like, you know, if I'd say like, and he would fall on the ground, and I would fall on the ground. You know, like this. So I was kind of like, you know, really overacting, maybe you could say. But then afterwards, Gurudev, he really liked that drama. I guess, you know, the subject matter was very dear to his heart, and, you know, to enact the reasons for Mahaprabhu's descent. This was a very good subject that he liked to speak on. So he was really pleased, and he was so happy, and he was really praising the drama. And I remember him coming up to me, and he said, oh, you know, you played the part of Radharani so well. And then he said, I've never seen anyone play Radharani like you before. You know, and then I was thinking, wow, you know, oh, that's good. Gurudev's really liking. But actually, well, afterwards, you know, when I reflected, I thought, oh my God, you know, that's like completely overacting, completely like over dramatic, you know. So, but Gurudev would always like encourage, you know, in that way. And I remember that he asked for that drama to be played again and again, and we played it a second time in Badger. And I remember that time, I'm telling so many details, I hope I'm not like going into too much detail, but anyway, so the second time we played that drama, you know, I don't know, somehow I wasn't as confident as the first time or whatever, I don't know. And again, I was playing Radharani, and I remember kind of in the middle of the drama, my sari started to fall off, and I was like trying to remember my line and speak my line and trying to like, you know, keep myself covered. And anyway, it was kind of like, that really threw me off. So then after, when I was in a darshan of Gurudev, I remember Gurudev turning to me and he said, oh, you know, even if the gopis' cloth falls off completely, then they will never lose their absorption, or something like that. They said. So everything, you know, Gurudev would notice, and you know, it was always wonderful to, you know, I love to write dramas, often direct and act, but it's probably a bit much to do all three, but somehow like juggling like that. Yeah, it was just so wonderful to see Gurudev, you know, pleased that we were at least attempting to remember Mahaprabhu's pastimes, Radha Krishna Leela, and enact. And it was very, very absorbing, because, you know, Gurudev would always want that you especially concentrate on the teachings of Mahaprabhu, or the teachings that were in these Leelas, you know. And, you know, I would always try to, when I wrote, I would always try to incorporate, you know, as many teachings as possible, especially what we heard from Gurudev. So Gurudev would always be, you know, very pleased, and he would always make comment like that. So, so another time I wrote a drama and, you know, acted as in this drama Ramananda Roy's Sambat, because that was another one of Gurudev's favorite subjects. He would often speak on this. So I tried to incorporate lots of the teachings, and so then we were performing it for the first time. I can't remember where that was, in America. Anyway, and he, you know, he didn't stay for the entire drama, and he walked out, you know, some part through. And then I was kind of upset, you know, Gurudev's walked out, and, you know, he didn't see the entire thing. And, you know, it's like you feel like you put so much effort, and, you know, maybe Gurudev didn't like it, and like this. So then the following morning, on Gurudev's morning walk, Gurudev, you know, I was kind of like in man with Gurudev, and I was standing there, and I was like almost like not wanting to look at Gurudev. I was really upset. He'd walked out of the drama. Anyway, so then he came straight up to me and he said, "That drama that you performed last night was excellent." And I said, "But Gurudev, you didn't even stay for it. You didn't see it or hear it." And Gurudev said, "No." He said, "I saw everything and I heard everything," like this. So then I thought, okay, you know, understood Gurudev seeing and hearing everything, even if he's not physically present. So then, anyway, there was lots of interactions that I had with Gurudev over dramas, because he was always asking for dramas, and, you know, we were performing lots of dramas in all the different countries of the world. I was continually traveling with Gurudev. And so then, this was in India one time, in Govardhan during Kartik, because Gurudev would ask for dramas also in India. And that time, we were doing one drama, and I had a question, and I'd always like to ask Gurudev, you know, clarification before we do the drama in case something's wrong. So that time Gurudev was sick and not feeling well, and he wasn't really coming out of his room so much. And I thought, when am I going to get an opportunity to ask this question? I have to ask before we put on the drama. And if the drama was in a few days. And so I asked if I could see Gurudev. It was not possible. And I was like, oh no, what to do? So then I guess I was thinking and thinking and thinking. And that night I had a dream. And Gurudev came in my dream. And I thought, oh, great. I got an opportunity now to see Gurudev. I can ask my question. So then I asked this question to Gurudev about the drama, and he gave the answer. He gave that answer. And when I heard the answer, I thought, oh, that wasn't quite the answer I was expecting. And then it's like, okay. So then somehow I woke up from my dream, and again I remember the question and the answer. Just, you know, my memory these days, I can't remember it now, but I remembered it then. And I remember thinking, is that right? I mean, Gurudev answered the question in the dream, but is that answer that he gave right? That it was that somehow I had this like little doubt that I wanted to make sure, you know, it wasn't kind of what I was like something I was imagining, or, you know, it seemed very real, but I really wanted to make sure. So then I thought, anyway, somehow I've got to ask Gurudev directly. So then I went over to where Gurudev was staying. At that time, Giridhari Gaudiya Mat was being built, and he was staying in some dharmashela somewhere close by. And so I went, and just as I went to the place he was staying, Gurudev came out the room, and I went straight up to Gurudev, and like it was like Gurudev was expecting, you know, and I asked that very same question to Gurudev, and Gurudev gave exactly the same answer that he gave in my dream. So then I thought, oh, you know, and he after he gave the answer, he smiled, you know, like, what, you didn't believe me, you know? So then I thought, okay, you know, I'll never doubt, you know, any dream, anything of Gurudev again. So anyway, so I continued to travel with Gurudev in so many different countries around the world. It was like Europe and America, Hawaii, Australia, Malaysia, Singapore, so many different countries. And then I remember one time, I think it was Malaysia, and I was always thinking, what drama can we do for Gurudev this time, you know? So then I wrote this drama, and it's like some Mahaprabhu's pastimes. But I was thinking, you know, who would act in this? What ladies there really to act in this drama? And I think there's not enough ladies. So, or maybe I could hand this script over to the men, like Ashram Maharaj there and others, maybe they could do it. So then I thought, anyway, I should check it out with Gurudev, you know. So then I approached Gurudev, and I said, you know, Gurudev, what do you think? You know, maybe the men could perform this drama. And Gurudev turned around to me and he said, oh, always drama, drama, drama. He said, can't you do anything else besides drama? He said, you should do something with your hands. And he said, do you ever help in the kitchen? And I thought, you know, that's my kind of least favorite thing, like chopping veg. And, you know, I like cooking, but I wouldn't be so fired up about chopping veg or whatever. I don't know. So then I said, well, not much, Gurudev. And then he said, you should cook for all the devotees. You know, today you can cook. So then I was like, okay, you know, and I was really happy actually, because, you know, I did like to cook. And I thought, no, good opportunity. So then anyway, I wasn't feeling so well, and I did cook, like I cooked sabji and dal, and anyway, I think it was the dal turned out really strange. The devotees tolerated, and then the sabji might be okay, I don't know. But so anyhow, but later I cooked again for all the devotees on the tour, and it was good, and Gurudev was happy, and so anyway, you know, it was always unpredictable, like our interactions with Gurudev. I was saying, like, you'd never really expect, you know, sometimes he could chastise, sometimes he could praise, you know, and or encourage, you could say, like that. So I remember one time it was in Mathura, and it was on the roof of Keshavji Gaudiya Mat, and I was asking him I wanted to ask him a question. Now there was Pradara Prabhu, I think was there, maybe one Papa disciple was there, I think it was Pradara, and he asked this question about an artist or something, and Gurudev answered, and then I had this kind of like high question, I guess, and so I asked this question, and Gurudev looked at me and he said, "Have you become free from all anarthas and apparats?" Like this. I was like, oh. Anyways, I thought, okay, maybe I shouldn't be asking such high questions or whatever, you know. But anyway, one thing I forgot to mention was, so I was traveling with Gurudev around the world, but each year he would go on tour. But in 1998, it must have been, I was thinking, you know, I'm really missing out that Gurudev's, okay, I'm traveling on Gurudev's tours, but and I'm going for every Kartik and every Navadvip Parikrama, but there's times in India that Gurudev's there, that I'm not there, you know, and like Julan Yatra and, you know, Jamastami, Radastami, or what, you know, like this. So then I thought, you know, I've always had a desire to live in Vrindavan, even from the very first time that I went to Vrindavan when I was in ISKCON. So then I remember it was Kartik in 1998, and I was doing Parikrama with Savita Didi. She was on Ekadashi, and she was really going fast, and I was trying to keep up, and I was singing. I was really praying. I was like, I just want to live in Vrindavan. Please, please, please. I just want to live in Vrindavan. Oh, Vrindavan Dham. Please allow me to stay in Vrindavan. You know, I have to ask my Gurudev. Oh, please. I want him to say what I want, that he will bless me to live in Vrindavan, you know, like this. I was really praying the whole time, the whole Parikrama. And then, so as soon as I finished Parikrama, I, you know, got back to Rupasanath and Gaudiya Mat. Gopinath Bhavan hadn't been built at that time. And I ran up to Gurudev's room, and Gurudev was giving darshan, and I sat right in front of Gurudev, and then Gurudev immediately looked at me, and he said, yes. And I said, Gurudev, can I live in Vrindavan? And then Gurudev looked at me, and he looked at me really seriously. And he said, but what about your husband? And I said, oh, he won't mind. And then he said, okay. Because actually, that my husband was like that. He was very accommodating, you know. Paying for my tickets to travel with Gurudev and like that. And so I thought, yeah, he won't mind. And then Gurudev said, but how will you maintain? And then I said, oh, yeah, you know, he'll help and be okay. You know, and Gurudev said, he looked at me like really like deeply, and he said, okay, you can live in Vrindavan forever. And then I was so happy. I was so excited. I thought, oh, my dream come true. So from then on, I was living in Vrindavan. You know, I could be with Gurudev for all the festivals there. I was traveling with Gurudev around the world. I was just like, you know, I felt my life was completely sublime. And yeah, I was just, you know, so happy. And yeah, so sometimes, you know, Gurudev, he would laugh and joke with us. Many times he laughing and joking with me. Sometimes he would chastise, like I said before. So like one time Gurudev was giving classes in Giridhari Gaudiya mat, and it was during Kartik, and he was speaking on which book, maybe Madhurya Kandambini, like this. Anyway, so he was explaining the different anartas, and you know, was it Srup Brahm, Asat Trishna, Aparad, Vidoida Bali, like different. And then he went on to explain the other more subtle anartas, or different anartas. And then he was explaining lie. And, you know, he was saying about how, you know, devotees can sometimes fall asleep. That's what the meaning of lie is, you know, sleepiness during chanting or hearing Harikatha, like this, you know. So, and I was thinking, you know, hearing this every day, I'm coming for class. Sorry, I'm coming for kirtans first. And Gurudev said, you know, one can fall, I think he said something like, one can fall asleep during Harikatha, okay, and if you fall asleep during kirtan, that's even, you know, worse or something. And I was thinking, oh my God, you know, like every day during Namami Nandanandanam and Radha Kripa Kadaksha Staviraj, you know, Namami Nandanandanam, Namami Nandanandanam, and I'd be like falling asleep, and I was thinking, oh, you know, you know, I'm really full of ignorance and full of lie. Sorry, I've got to plug in my phone here. I'm not sure if it will still stand up. Okay, maybe not. I'll turn it around and see what happens. Oh, am I upside down now? Okay. Hopefully it will just stand up. Okay, stay there. Okay, so what was I saying? So I was hearing this and I was thinking, oh, you know, I'm just so full of ignorance, and you know, I fall asleep even in kirtan. There's no hope for me. And so then I approached Gurudev after the class and I said, Gurudev, you know, I have so much lie, you know. And Gurudev said, lie? You're lying? You shouldn't lie. Like this. And I was saying, no, Gurudev, you know, I just so much lie, you know. He said, I told you you shouldn't lie. And like this, he would joke. But other times, he would, you know, seriously chastise, like I said before. One time, when we were in Prema Sarovar during Kartik. So I always had so many questions for Gurudev, and I'm sure Gurudev would get like tired of my questions, but sometimes he would say, oh, you know, you and Shamarani, you're like full of questions, and he'd say, oh, you're a basket of questions, and things like that. And, you know, he'd call Shamarani, Didi, question Rani, but I like to ask questions like that, many questions. So Anyway, once I was in Prema with Gurudev, and I had this burning question. So he went in this temple, and it was praying Buhari, and I thought, okay, it was sometimes hard to get to Gurudev to ask the question. There was such a big crowd, and so I thought, I'll stand here, and after Gurudev's taken darshan, when he's coming just about to go out the temple, I'll ask my question. So then I was standing there, and Gurudev was coming, and Gurudev walked straight past me. Like, I'm sure he knew I wanted to ask him a question. I was like, right in the front. So then I went directly behind Gurudev, and I thought, okay, as soon as Gurudev gets out of the temple, then I will be right there and I can ask my question. But what happened, I was so eager that I wasn't thinking and I wasn't looking, and I somehow stood on the back of Gurudev's shoe and he kind of tripped up a little bit, and I thought, oh no, what have I done? Next thing I know is Gurudev turns immediately, like he turned around, and it was like Gurudev was right, like close to my face, like this close, and he went, and he was like red in the face, and he went like this, and he raised his hand, like I knew it was going to be like, what's coming next? And then I put my hands over my face, and like to protect my face, like, because I knew he was going to give me a big slap. And then he went like this, like as though to say, take your hands away. So I went like that, and then he went, like a really big slap, and it was so big slap and so loud that I felt like, well, everyone for for hundreds of yards could hear. Anyway, so then I immediately burst into tears. A Gurudev walked off, and I was like crying and crying and crying. And I thought, oh no, I've made this big aparad. Gurudev is really upset with me, and what am I going to do? And I was just crying. So then this devotee ran up to me, and she said, hey, come, hey, you really got the mercy. And I was like, oh no, I really offended Gurudev. And she said, anyway, Gurudev wants to see you, and come quickly. And I was like, what? And I was thinking, oh no, Gurudev's already given me one big slap, and then he wants to give me another big slap. Maybe he wants to chastise me more, So then I was carried on crying. I was really sobbing, and this devotee was trying to like drag me to Gurudev, and I was kind of like going very slowly. I didn't want to go, and then when Gurudev was sitting, and like there was darshan, and he was speaking, and then there was a big crowd around Gurudev, and then Gurudev saw me, and he went like this. He said, come on, and then I thought, oh God, what's next? And thinking it was going to be another big slap or something. And then when I got in front of Gurudev, rather than give me a big slap, he said, oh, he said, did I hurt you? And he was stroking my head, and then he started to wipe away my tears, and then my heart just completely melted, and I was like, oh wow. So Gurudev was so sweet and so merciful, trying to pacify me like that. So anyway, like I said, sometimes speaking very sweetly, encouraging, sometimes chastising. So Gurudev, he would always, give different instructions to me. I remember being on the tours, and I would always like write lots of notes, and I would be like writing, I'd be looking at Gurudev and writing, non-stop writing, because I wanted to like capture every word. And then one time Gurudev looked at me and he said, "Oh," he said, "I will write in golden letters in your heart," like this. So always so sweet and encouraging. Then different times he would give me different instructions, like he would tell me, "Oh, be more renounced." So I remember one time, you know, because my former husband, he was sending me traveling with Gurudev, and then, you know, there was a time when we were basically living separately, and it was kind of like, well, maybe we should go our separate ways type thing. And then I was thinking, okay, well, what to do? And then Gurudev at that time, he said, "Be more renounced." And he said, "Just have 1, 2 saris or 2 saris." And he told me, like, always encouraging like that. And sometimes he would say, "Be sincere," probably because I wasn't sincere at all. You know, maybe only externally looking, but internally so much anartas there. So anyway, one time when I was in Gaudiya, Gurudev, it was on the roof. Gurudev's room was on the roof there, and he came out of his room. There was hardly anyone there, and Gurudev came straight up to me and he said, "Oh, you have heard so much," like this, he said. And I was like, okay, no. And then I thought, I wonder why Gurudev's saying this. And then I kind of reflected that, you know, Gurudev probably doesn't want me to keep it all to myself, and I should share. And actually, from the very beginning, Gurudev would always tell me, "You should preach, you should distribute my books." And, you know, that would be my service. Even traveling around the world with Gurudev, I would always try to distribute his books, and whoever I would meet, I would try to bring and introduce them to Gurudev, and Gurudev would always be so happy, you know, and sometimes he would give them initiation and like this. So, I remember one time when I was in Jagannath Puri, I think it was in 1997, 8, so very early on, and there was only a few Westerners at that time. There wasn't that many. Gurudev was actually writing; he wasn't speaking as such. And I remember it was so sweet being with Gurudev at that time. It was just like me, my husband, Vichitra Didi, that I remember from the West. And one time Gurudev was on the beach. He was going for his morning walk, and we kind of found Gurudev there, and husband, Vichitra Didi, myself, or maybe it was just me and Vichitra. Anyway, so Gurudev was look, this big smile came over his face, and he was in a very playful mood, and he started to like kick the sand at us, you know, kick the sand, and we were like, laughing so much, and it was really sweet, very intimate. And anyway, I remember also at that time that we were in Gurudev's room, and it was Shivaratri, and there was just me, my husband, Vichitra Didi, and Gurudev, you know, wanted us to hear about Shiva Tapa. So he asked Madam Maharaj to stand up and speak. So then he started to speak about Shivji and explain so many things. And I remember at that time, every few sentences, he was interrupted interrupting him and like, you know, kind of like correcting or adding something. And I was thinking, wow, you know, it was very, very like personal and very sweet. And then at the end, Gurudev said, you know, this Shiva tattva is so complicated, you know, it's so complex. Anyway, so that was very sweet. And I remember that time, Gurudev, he was coming back from his morning walk one time. He came up to me and he said, I want you to preach and distribute my books. And I said, oh, Gurudev, really? I said, you mean right now? And then he just looked at me, laughed, you know. Then he said, no, not now. And he said, but you should. So like this, he was always encouraging, and he, you know, he was always like pleased with the enthusiasm. So then later on, he would tell me, oh, you know, you should travel and preach. And then he would say, you know, I want you to travel and preach all over the world. And then I was thinking, well, you know, okay, I was enthusiastic to distribute books, but I don't know about traveling and preaching all over the world. I'm totally unqualified. And I thought, well, you know, maybe sometime in the future when I become qualified, it may be possible. Then one time I was in Houston with him, and he was writing retreat at that time. He wasn't it wasn't part of his preaching tour like that. So then one time there was a darshan, and he came straight up. He got, after kind of when the darshan ended, he stood up and he came straight up to me and he said, oh, what are you doing here? And I said, you know, I came to be with you, Gurudev. And he said, no. He said, I want you to travel and preach. And I said, when, Gurudev? And I was like afraid, you know. I said, when, Gurudev? And he said, now. And I said, well, where, Gurudev? And he said, everywhere. I want that you travel and preach all over the world. But this time, you know, he said it like really emphatically, and I thought, oh, this time he's really serious. And I didn't know what to do. I thought, oh God, you know, how's this possible? So then, so the following Kartik, I think it was like 2007, I was in his room in Gaudiya Mat, and Radhakanti Didi was there as well. And then he called both Radhakanti Didi and I forward, and he said to us, you know, that I want you to start traveling and preaching all over the world. I've told you so many times before, and, you know, you should start. And I thought, okay, you know. And then Radhakanti Didi said, oh, so we should travel and preach together. And then Gurudev said, no, separately. So then, and he said, take some junior devotee with you, you know, to assist you like that. So then I thought, oh, I've got to really try now, but what to do, how to do. And anyway, somehow Gurudev made all the connections, and, you know, I ended up going to Mexico, Brazil, and then on from there to different countries around the world by Gurudev's mercy. But I never, ever, ever, ever felt qualified. And, you know, it was interesting because sometimes I'd come back after preaching and I'd see Gurudev in Keshri Gaudiya Mat in Mathura, and sometimes Gurudev would be, oh, so pleased, so happy, oh, you know, like patting me on the head, oh, you've done so well. And then other times I'd come back and he'd be completely indifferent, really indifferent, you know, so like not really bothered, like, you know, like this. So I remember talking about patting on the head. I remember one time after a drama we'd done for Gurudev in Holland, It was, which Leela was it? The fruit salad Leela. We've done the fruit salad Leela. And I played the fruit salad. So then, and you know, the fruit salad would call out, Govinda lo, Damodar lo, like this. And I was really putting my heart into it, you know. And then after, Gurudev came straight up to us after the drama, and he went like this. He went like really hard on my head, you know. You know, he seemed to be like really pleased with that drama for some reason. But other times, you know, it would be, he wouldn't really say much or reciprocate much, or, you know, like this. It was always very unpredictable with Gurudev. Anyway, so I remember one time, you know, Gurudev would always give birthday blessings to every, that became a habit of his. I think it started off actually with Vishodhanandan Prabhu and his wife at that time, Anangamohini Didi. But, you know, they got the birthday blessings, and then everyone started getting birthday blessings, you know, Mangalam Bhavatu, Kalyanam Bhavatu. So then, you know, it was my birthday one time, and I approached Gurudev. I told Gurudev it's my birthday, you know, and then, you know, Gurudev was Mangalam Bhavatu, Kalyanam Bhavatu, and I was looking at Gurudev and I was like thinking, well, is that it? You know, I don't want just Mangalam Bhavatu, Kalyanam Bhavatu. I want more, you know. So then, so Gurudev, and Gurudev obviously, he read my heart, and he said, well, what do you want? And then I said, Gurudev, I want to do bhajan like Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Gurudev looked at me, and I thought, well, that was an okay request, because he's always saying you should do bhajan like Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. And then Gurudev, he looked at me and he said, well, that's not possible. And I looked at Gurudev, I said, not possible? And he said, no, that's not possible for you. And I said, well, then what? And then Gurudev said, okay, you can do bhajan like Gangamata Goswamini then. So I was like, okay, that's good. That's good enough for me. So then another time, it was my birthday, and the same thing happened, and I was, you know, Gurudev was Mangalam Bhavatu, Kalyanam Bhavatu, and I was looking at Gurudev and like, well, is that it? You know, I don't want to just and Gurudev said, okay, what do you want? And I didn't say anything, and then he said, may you always be in good association. So I thought, wow, this is really a true blessing, and you know, it has come true. So anyway, there's so many exchanges I had with Gurudev on the tours and in India. I'll just tell maybe one more. I remember in Holland, and I was always eager to get darshan with Gurudev, you know, even though I was seeing him all the time, but, you know, I'd like to get in the darshans. So I remember I went, there was this one darshan, and it was only for devotees who were working in the kitchen, and I wasn't working in the kitchen. So, but anyhow, I wanted to get into the darshan, so I kind of sneaked in, and, you know, I was kind of sitting at the back, and it was the one sannyasi in the darshan there, and he wanted to introduce a group of, I think it was devotees from Lithuania or somewhere. So anyway, I saw there was an opportunity to ask a question to Gurudev, so I leaped forward and I got in front of Gurudev, and, you know, I sat in front of Gurudev, and I said, oh, Gurudev, I've got a question. And then Gurudev said, yes, but then there was this sannyasi, and he was really eager to introduce these devotees from Lithuania had come like for the first time or something to meet Gurudev. So he was trying to get Gurudev's attention, but Gurudev ignored him, and he began to answer my question. And then can't remember the question I answered that time. Terrible memory. Anyway, so then I had another question, and then I said, "Oh, good, I have one more question." And then, but this sannyasi again, he was trying to introduce devotees, and he was like, "Oh, Gurudev," like just about to introduce, and then Gurudev he cut him off, and he said, "No, let her ask her question." And I was like, wow. And then he listened attentively to my question, and gave a very nice answer. And then I said, Gurudev, I have one more question. And then I was like, is there time? And then it was a bit selfish, but I was like, should have given this sannyasi the opportunity. But anyway, so then again, this sannyasi was trying to introduce these people, and Gurudev just like kind of ignored him, and he was yes ask your question. And he was really enthusiastic to hear my question, and so I asked, and then it was just really, really sweet. And I was thinking, wow, it was like I was like, Gurudev was ignoring this sannyasi, and he was enthusiastic to answer my questions, and then I was really amazed at, really touched how he was doing that. So then I was reflecting on it, and then I was feeling, Gurudev's so kind, that maybe he was wanting to show that it's not about Vaish or external Vaish or what position someone's in, and like this, he was maybe wanting to especially show his love and affection. I don't know, but sometimes Gurudev would be like this, and other times the complete opposite. Like he would just ignore you, like ignore me, sometimes completely ignore me, sometimes it would go on for weeks or months, like this. So very unpredictable, but always for a reason. It was to churn our hearts, that he wanted to incite this greed. He was always talking about greed. You should have this greed. And he would do so many things to incite that greed in our hearts. So one of the things, maybe ignoring us. And then when we got to a point where we were like, I'd get to a point where I'd become absolutely desperate. Gurudev, why are you ignoring me, please? And, I was desperate for his glance or whatever, then finally maybe he would be like, and then he would like looking, so smiling sweetly and speaking like this. But maybe it was also to teach that it's not about just external relations, but the internal relation, because at some point Gurudev would physically depart, and we wouldn't have that external relation, that external reciprocation. We'd only have our memories and the that internal relationship. And which just reminds me, there's one more really nice thing that happened as well. That I was thinking in the beginning, when we were first traveling with Gurudev, you could go and see him practically any time. He was so available, it was so nice and so intimate. And, as I was continuing to travel on Gurudev's tours, it became increasingly difficult to get into his room for darshan. And sometimes I would do the most crazy thing, try to get into his room for darshan. I remember one time I was in Bhaja, And because, you know, I was in the dramas, and sometimes we'd have, you know, drama paraphernalia costumes, and I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll put a wig on. So I put this like wig, and Brajanapu, he'd always, or Madhav Maharaj would always try to stop me, you know, oh, you're always, you know, coming into Gurudev's room and darshan, you know. So they'd try to like stop me from getting in. And so this time I had this wig, and Brajanapu did not recognize me. And so it was really funny. So I got in, it was in Baja, and I sat down in front of Gurudev with this silly black wig, you know. Gurudev was looking like, who is this, you know. But anyway, just to get to the point, that one time I was in, where was it, Alachua, and Radha, Kanti, Didi and I, we really wanted to see Gurudev, get into his room and talk with him, you know, like before, like we could, like in the earlier years, you know. So then Gurudev was staying in this house, and he was up in an upstairs room. And I remember Brajanapu, Madhav Maharaj was staying in one room, Gurudev kind of like close by upstairs. And Radha Kanti and I, we were talking, and we're like, you know, we've got to get into Gurudev's room, you know. So and we knew Madhav Maharaj and Brajanapu weren't going to let us in. So then we thought, well, somehow we'll look for an opportunity. So we were at the bottom of the stairs, and we were looking up, and we'd see like Brajanapu coming out of his room, entering Gurudev's room, coming out of Gurudev's room, going back into his room, like that. We were watching their movements, you know. and then we saw our opportunity. Both Brajanapu and Madhav Maharaj went in Gurudev's room, and we'd like sneaked up the stairs, and then we were outside Gurudev's room, and we were kind of listening to see, you know, what was going on in Gurudev's room. And then I was saying to Radha Kanti, you open the door. And Radha Kanti was saying, no, you open the door. And I said, okay, I'll open the door. You know? So then I opened the door a little bit, and then as soon as I opened the door, Gurudev was like staring at me, and then I thought, I was wondering, am I in trouble, or, you know, what? But Gurudev, big smile came on Gurudev's face, and then he said, come on. So then me and Radhikant, like, we went in and we sat in front of Gurudev, and we were so happy. And Gurudev said that time, he said, you are always welcome to come in my room. He said, you can come anytime you like. You can come into my room. My room is always open for you. And me and Radha Kanti Didi, we were like looking at each other. We were like in bliss. And Brajanapu was there. And we were looking at Brajanapu like, you see, listen to what Gurudev is saying now, you know, like this. But anyway, so Gurudev was very, very sweet and really encouraging. But afterwards, I was thinking, because Gurudev was saying, you know, you can come anytime. My door is always open for you. There can be no obstruction for my darling daughters. And you come whenever you like. And then I was thinking afterwards, reflecting on it, but Gurudev, you know, that's not true. That sometimes, there's often we're not allowed in your room, like Madhav Maharaj or Brajanapu stops us from entering, and then so what did you mean by that? So then I was reflecting, and then I was thinking, it's very simple, that Gurudev's meaning, like, he always had this mood of lokik bandhuvat, you know, and in a very sweet and loving mood, he was saying, the door of my heart is always open for you. That means not just for me, but for all his darling daughters and sons. And he was saying, you can come anytime. Means that even though Gurudev's physically departed this world, he may not be there standing before us, that we can see him physically in his physical presence, but he's always there for us. His heart is always open for us, and we're at any time and every time of the day or night, every week, every month, every year, we are always invited into Gurudev's heart. And Gurudev, he wants us to come closer and closer and closer to him, so that we can completely imbibe his mood, because that's what he came to give, this Radha Darshan. This is the greatest gift, the most rare gift for the jivas in this world. And, you know, all his Harikatha was really for this purpose. This is his gift. This is what he wanted to give. He was encouraging, enticing in so many ways. Come into my heart and taste what I'm tasting. If you even got one little drop of what I'm tasting, then you would give up this material world, all your material attachments forever. And you would completely hold on to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna, and that would be your only shelter, your only aim and object. Like Srila Narottam Das Thakur sings in the song Radha Krishna Pranamor, Yugala Kishore. Like this, Gurudev wanted us to enter this mood. So I've probably gone way over time. There's many more things I could say. I don't know if I should say there's one very last. Shall I say very last? Okay. All right. So there was, many times we got opportunity to be in the airport with Gurudev. He was coming, going different places. And I remember one time I was with Gurudev in the airport in San Francisco, I think it was. And he was giving darshan, as he would, and people were asking questions, and I had a question. And then I was, waiting for an opportunity to ask. And so then I asked Gurudev, what are the symptoms of a disciple who is surrendered to his guru? Because Gurudev sometimes speak about this. And then Gurudev answered, whatever his guru orders, that surrendered disciple will do without any hesitation. And then I think he said more, but that I can remember. So then it was time for Gurudev to go on his flight, and he got up and he started to walk off towards the immigration, and everyone began to follow him. So Gurudev, then he turned to me and he said, oh, so what are your plans? Where are you going now? Like Gurudev, he was flying to Houston. I think he was flying to Houston that time, and he was going to be writing or maybe going to see doctor, like that. Yeah, in Houston. So I said, well, Gurudev, and then his next stop after Houston was North Carolina for, to continue his tour, the festival there. So then I'd planned to go to Miami. There was something going on there, and then on to North Carolina. So then my ticket was there, and Gurudev said, so what are your plans? And I said, oh, Gurudev, I'm planning to go to Miami and I'll meet you in North Carolina. And then Gurudev said, no. He said, better you stay here and preach. And I said, oh, no, Gurudev, but I've already got my ticket. And then he said, okay, no problem. You can change your ticket. And I said, but Gurudev, it's not possible. I can't do that. And then he said, he smiled and he said, no, I want you to stay here and preach. And then he turned and left. So then I thought, oh, okay, what was that all about? I kind of had a feeling that Gurudev was joking with me. Anyhow, so I, went on my flight to Miami. And while I was on the flight, I was thinking, well, what did Gurudev mean? Why was he teasing me and telling me that I should stay in San Francisco and preach and, not go to Miami and maybe not go to North Carolina? It doesn't make any sense. Is he joking or what? So I was thinking, and then it came to me. I thought, wait, what had just happened prior to that? I'd asked Gurudev this question, what are the symptoms of a disciple who surrendered to his guru? And he'd just given me the answer, that whatever the guru instructs, that disciple will do without any hesitation. And here's me, and I was like saying to Gurudev, oh, Gurudev, you asking me to stay and preach? No way. I'm doing that. I've got my ticket. I can't do that. So in that way, Gurudev was showing me how completely unsurrendered I was. And still, unfortunately, to this day, I'm completely unsurrendered still. But at least I'm praying to become surrendered one day, at least surrendered to Gurudev. And of course, praying for Vishrambhena Guru Seva. Gurudev is always emphasizing that we should at least come to that stage of having that relationship with Gurudev where there's so much intimacy and no awe and reverence, no Aishwarya mood. And I also pray that I can really fully embrace what Gurudev came here to give. Gurudev, he said, I've come here to give this most highest and rare gift of Radha Darshan. I'm speaking this Harikatha, very high topics, but who is there that can understand these topics? Who is there that has such a desire, such a greed for this? He said, if no one is there, then I will just return back to where I came from. So this is what Gurudev wants for all of us, that we at least have such a greed for this, and through this greed, then finally in one life, it may take few lives, it may take many lives, but in one life we may attain this, doing real sadhana bhakti to attain bhav bhakti, and attaining bhav bhakti, Prema Bhakti, and Radha Darshan. So sorry, I actually went over time, I think.
Shall I show your pictures now?
Oh, sorry, I've even completely forgot about the pictures. Yeah, maybe just yeah, okay, just you could show, maybe if you show like some of the drama pictures.
This is a drama picture, I think.
Yeah, that's drama pictures.
Is this you in Gurudev's dress, like wearing a saffron?
No, this I think this must be Mahaprabhu Leela, I would imagine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't remember specifically, but yeah.
It's like a sannyas.
Right, Mahaprabhu Leela, yeah. Probably I was playing Mahaprabhu or something.
This was where, in India or abroad?
No, actually, I remember. I think this is in England, and we were playing the pastime of Maharaj Prataparudra. Yeah, and I was playing Mahaprabhu, I think, or Mahaprabhu, yeah, like that. So, yeah, I can't even see this. It's so small on my phone. Oh wait, I can see it. Oh yeah. So this is I think this was in Malaysia or something. Chandramukhi Didi had written a drama, and it was Bharat March, and I was playing Bharat March in his third life, and yeah, the king. Sorry, no, sorry, not I wasn't playing. I was playing King Rahugana. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
King Rahugana, and that was funny. That was a funny memory.
Oh, what a sweet picture, Bela.
Yeah, Bela, Didi, and myself, very close to Gurudev.
Oh yeah. Almost like hugging him.
Yeah. We'd always be, Gurudev was so kind, so merciful that he'd always allow his daughters to come very close and speak with him. And it's very intimate like that, you know. So yeah. Oh yeah, Gurudev. Yeah, you know, it reminds me so much like that time when Gurudev was saying to me, when he was joking about lie, oh, don't lie, you shouldn't lie, you know. So he'd often have these expressions on his face like that, just so funny and just like, what's the word? Joking and teasing, that's the word. He would like tease me and others, devotees, so often like that, you know. That reminds me. And this is I think this was when I think this was the fruit seller leader, I think, in Holland, maybe, and I was playing the fruit seller, and that was when Gurudev really patted me on the head like boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
I think that's a lot of makeup for fruit salad.
maybe I can't remember. It maybe, I don't know, but I think it was the fruit salad. But anyway, yeah. Oh, and then yeah, that was just not long before Gurudev physically departed, I think, and Gurudev wouldn't come out of his room very much, and but you know, it was rare to get his darshan, and one day he came and sat and talked to Vichitra Didi was there, and I think that's Bhadra Didi. Yeah, Bhadra Didi. And I was there. My back is there. Yeah. So yeah, at least. Yeah, and there's
Damodar Priya.
Damodar Priya Didi. Gurudev would always encourage her to preach very boldly, stand up and speak. And one time Gurudev got me to stand up and speak in South Africa, and I was really nervous, and I really kind of messed up. And well, but didn't help because Damodar Maharaj was there, and he was in the background like laughing and joking and teasing, and so I was like even more nervous. And then anyway, but Gurudev was so sweet, and afterwards he came up to me and I said, oh Gurudev, you know, it was like that. It was terrible. And Gurudev said, no, that was excellent. And you know, he was encouraging, but it was terrible. Anyway, so, and then so in Bhaja drama, I can't remember which drama.
You're one here in this white dress, right?
Yeah. And that would have been when, you know, Gurudev would comment after each and every drama. So that would have been, he was commenting. We were all sitting like looking at Gurudev, like, what's he going to say?
It's like getting a debrief after the act.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I remember, this is a nice memory as well. I think this was a time when Gurudev gave my husband, or former husband, saffron cloth, and that was actually a very sweet exchange, because it was in Navadvip, and it was at the end of Navadvip Parikrama, like just at the time, just the day before Gorpanim or something. And then my former husband approached Gurudev and asked for saffron cloth. And Gurudev turned to me and he said, no, he turned to him, sorry, and he said, oh, but you have to ask permission from your wife. Wow. And then I said, yes, of course, Gurudev, whatever you want. And then this was in Gurudev's room. This is before this. And then I said, yeah, of course, Gurudev, whatever you want. And then Gurudev said, no. He said to Ramana, he said, you have to ask your wife for permission, and she has to give permission. And then, so he asked me in front of Gurudev, and I said, yes, definitely, of course. I was really happy. And then, so then afterwards, Gurudev was coming, I don't know, he was looking around the temple area, and then he came up to me and he said, so your Gurudev, so your husband will become brahmachari, so now what will you do? And I said, oh, Gurudev. He said, no, he said, now what will you do? How will you maintain? And I said, oh, Gurudev, no problem. And I said, I'll just depend on Krishna. And then Gurudev said, very good. Like this. So that was, I think, that time. I
think you're the center of attention here. Everybody's looking at you.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then there was a video. It is a very sweet. There was one video, the first video that I sent you.
Okay, I will try to show that.
The very first video. Don't bother with the other videos.
Very first? Okay.
The first video I sent you, I think. This is Gurudev in 1998, when he first came in 96, then 97, then 98. He was in the Watford area, and then he was just coming for class. melting everyone's hearts, you know.
We couldn't hear clearly what you were talking to him. It was loud.
Sorry?
We couldn't hear clearly what you were talking to him.
Okay, I was okay.
Really
Whatever. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I was just saying that, you know, I was just pointing out the different devotees. Like one of them was the daughter of Nami Marj, the parents of Aranya Marj, who was Prem Priyojan Prabhu's parents, were there. And I was meeting them, and then you know, I approached him shortly after that, and it was just, I was introducing someone, you know. So yeah, just so nice to see how Gurudev was reciprocating with everyone, and so sweetly and so personally. So anyway, okay. Yeah, I think I've gone way over time. Sorry. All right, anyway, I can say Panchakalpadrubhishta Kripasindavevacha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namaha. Oh, there was one very last thing. Oh, probably you're gonna kill me now. But anyway, I just remember there was I remember like around that time as well. There was one time I was thinking, what service can I do for Gurudev? This is the very beginning. I was thinking, what service can I do for Gurudev? And then they wanted someone to write the Mangalarti song. You know, because we didn't really know the Mangalarti song coming from ISKCON. So I was like, okay, I'll do it, you know. So then I was really happy and excited to do that, you know, for the devotees for Gurudev. And then, but that day, that I committed myself to doing. I think everyone was going on Harinam Sankirtan, and I was kind of stuck behind writing this Mangalarti song. And I like to write. I was really trying very hard, doing it very carefully. But I was sick, and I was actually kind of in pain that day. And then, you know, I was feeling all sorry for myself, and I couldn't go on Harinam Sankirtan, and I was thinking about Gurudev, and then all of a sudden Gurudev pops up and he's there, and he's standing, and he's looking over my writing, and I looked up at Gurudev, and I was like, oh, and he said, oh, what are you writing? And then I was like, oh, Mangalarti song, Gurudev, and he said, okay, very good, like this. So it's just this, I mean, every one of us, I think, has these memories of Gurudev. You're thinking something, and then it's almost like, you know, Vanchakalpadrubhishta, the pure Vaishnava, he's fulfilling all desires. And I was desiring to see Gurudev, and Gurudev appeared like that, you know, and really pacified my heart, and, you know, yeah, anyway, so many sweet memories. Yeah, Gurudev touched everyone's hearts in such special ways.
Yes. Thank you so much, Didi. That was so beautiful. Like every minute of that was so nice to hear and feel Gurudev through you. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So, yeah, I just wanted to share some points that really touched me. It really felt like, oh no.
Someone's calling your attention.
Remember you.
Your husband.
You know what? Keep calling. So I'm just gonna send a quick message that I am busy. See, I told you.
Gurudev calling.
You talk to him. I think it's better. I will speak meanwhile.
No, it's okay. I just sent a message. Hopefully, yeah, he got it. So it was, yeah, it really felt like to me that, and I feel like I've seen this theme in a lot of the sessions I've heard from a lot of devotees, where it's the life before Gurudev is just leading up to meeting him, and it's like a reunion with Gurudev. It's all you're seeking, first of all, seeking God. You want to communicate with God, even as a small child. That's like some strong sanskars from your previous life, you know? Um, and then, so many, I guess, distractions, or where to take diksha, who's my guru. And then finally you meet Gurudev, and it just like, he's like the perfect piece of the puzzle, and just makes sense. And this is where we're meant to be. And I think it's really beautiful to see like the different kind of evolutions of that journey of becoming reunited with our eternal spiritual master. And also Gurudev saying that you don't find Guru. Guru will come knocking on your door. That's so true, so relevant, and so relatable for so many people. Because like, how can we find him? You know, we have no shakti to see who is our guru, or who even is a pure devotee, but so merciful that he comes looking for all his little lost servants. And it's like such a miracle, actually, and it gives so much hope that in our next life he'll come looking for us in some other form. He'll always be with us, physically or not, but he'll always be with us, always come looking for us. And really, we're saved, we're in Gurudev's pockets. So that was just really, really beautiful to hear your journey. And and also so many times I hear that, it's always that first connection is through books, and it just shows, you were presented books on the street. And I think it's really important to recognize that book distribution is so important, and getting out there, for all the devotees, it's so significant. We may not realize, but we may be making that connection for so many, hundreds of souls. We go out there, we distribute books as much as possible, Srila Gurudev's books and Srila Prabhupada's books. And that's not something that's really pushed enough, I think that's something that we all can push more, is putting as many books in as many hands as possible, because they are, like Shamarani Didi always says, they're like ticking time bombs.
Yeah, I was also I forgot to mention, I got a Bhagavad Gita from the devotees in the London temple that time when I went, Soho Street temple, and I couldn't really understand even the introduction. But later, like you said, it's a time bomb, and later I was reading, this isn't difficult to understand, because more Sukriti or whatever it takes,
Yeah, and as we develop, we understand different things. We can read the same book many times, and each time get something new out of it as we develop. Gurudev slapping you I've never heard that. I don't think I've ever heard Gurudev slapping anyone. Maybe
Yes,
like
a lot of people, but not any ladies. I've never heard, actually. First time.
never a lady, never a lady.
I'm so surprised to hear this, and you must have really mercy.
I think maybe Shamala Didi got a slap from Gurudev. Maybe Vichitra Didi got some kick or something good. I can't remember, but yeah, two ladies.
So that's like, I can imagine the intense mercy, and then so compassionate. It made me so emotional. Then he called you back, wiping your tears, and you're definitely one in many, many people. I've only heard of someone just commented saying he punched Radha Kanti Didi on her back once in Govardhan.
Okay.
Wow. So yeah, definitely very fortunate souls. I've heard of like different sannyasis as they grew up with Gurudev. Like we always heard from Tirth Maharaj and Bon Maharaj that he would like beat them, but they were kids, So to be a Western lady, I mean any lady, and get that mercy is really cool. So I won't take too long. I know Ajay Prabhu has some things as well, but just everything you said was just really beautiful. Gurudev coming in your dream and answering your question is like, and then giving you the same answer in person is just giving you more confirmation and so much faith that Gurudev, he has so many ways to communicate with us, you know. And even just last night, I was reading that his quote that after I leave, you can still ask me your questions and I will still guide you. Something along those lines. And it just a reminder for us that hey, Gurudev is definitely there, communicating with us if we just turn to him. Another comment is he slapped Madhavi like
I remember that. Yeah.
All the slaps are coming out now. I never thought.
Yeah.
lucky souls, yeah. I think the most I've had is like Gurudev like just kind of tapping me on my head, and he would hover his hand on my head, and I wasn't like happy with that, so I would just be like, touch my head. I'd be like, and then he would. So that was yeah, that's the most I got. But yeah, thank you, Ajay Krishna Prabhu.
So nice. It was really very, very heart touching and very beautiful journey of a young girl who wanted to write a note to God. And eventually, she not only got to write, but also to listen, talk, and play with God by the mercy of such elevated Guru who is giving us Radha Dasyam. And I think you are there in the team of Radharani already, it seems.
Only hope. I have this hope.
There's so much mercy I can see you have. Your life is intertwined with Srila Gurudev, and you give so much energy. It is really amazing. You travel with him everywhere. You left everything, your husband, and even your husband was so favorable. It's very unlikely that they will sponsoring all the time, all the trips, and still very happy. So how perfectly everything worked out, your married life, then now you're Vanprasth and even sannyas, like what you're living now. It's amazing. You're very, very beautiful. I wanted to say so.
Far from sannyas, but anyway.
No, you're all right now. So many things I wanted to say, but time is not there.
Yeah,
so I will not say any of those things. I have made a lot of notes, but what I really, really liked is the thing which you said yourself, and I've just read what you said. I noted down. And Gurudev said to you, the door of my heart is always open for you. You can come anytime. We are always invited into Gurudev's heart. He wants us to come closer and closer. He wants to give the rarest of the rare gift of Radha Dasyam. Come to my heart and come and taste what I'm tasting. You would give up these material attachments forever. So this was your comment, which I'm just repeating. And it just came out of your heart so beautifully. You spoke. And actually, Gurudev is calling all of us, come close, come close. And he's waiting. His doors are always open for us. There is no Maharaj there. There is no Brajnath Prabhu there. He's waiting for us.
No obstacle.
If they are there, they are busy somewhere else. They are not at the door.
We used to call them Jai and Vijay.
And he gave you permission to stay in Vrindavan, and now you have your permanent residence there in Vrindavan. That is also such a, that's direct permission and blessing from Gurudev. Otherwise, it's not easy to live there, It's like Radharani herself has to admit you to live in Vrindavan. Even, I was hearing that even permission to stay in Vrindavan for one night is so rare and so difficult. And you live there, and that's, again, Gurudev's immense mercy.
Well, I hope I can truly live in Vrindavan. I'm living here externally only, but one day I'm hoping.
Saying about Jai and Vijay, I think the role is really important, because if they were not there, then you will not have so much of greed to meet Gurudev, and the way the things you do to meet him, you would have taken went to meet him. It's like it's real parkiya bhav, so much of obstacles on the way to meet whom you love. And if it's very easy, then it is that bhav may not be probably there. So now, we can see how many tricks you're doing, how many things you're trying to meet Gurudev. sometimes wearing a wig, sometimes dozing somebody.
Crazy.
Spying over them, what they're doing when they're going in, when they're coming out. So all those things. So really, really beautiful, so nice. And you also said, I never ever felt qualified to preach. What a humble position. Only a person with such humble position can preach. Person who feels qualified can hardly preach, actually. So I think you are perfectly qualified because you feel unqualified.
No, I'm definitely not qualified.
It's really, really amazing. Very, very nice. And after all this 2 hours, 2.5 hours, still, I think you have not finished probably half of what you have to say. You have a lot. So maybe we'll call you once again. And
I don't think you'll be calling me again. It'll be like, oh, another 2.5 hours.
No, I would love to go for hours and hours. It's Gurudev.
We can hear so much more.
So
Thank
really,
you for your encouragement.
and your surrender is amazing, and the way you talk, it is very inspiring for all of us. Superb. Thank you, Didi. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity for me to remember Gurudev.
And I wish you can preach so many more people. You can bring them into feet of Gurudev and give them all this happiness which you are tasting yourself. So everybody else's whole world is benefited. Thank you so much.
Please bless me, you, Ajay Prabhu, and
you already have Gurudev's blessing. He has ordered you. Gurudev order is always with blessings. It is together. He gave you order, so it is. He gave you power also.
It's interesting. Just one very brief thing is, because I had this road traffic accident, and
oh yeah, I wanted to ask about it. I forgot.
Yeah, I was in the hospital for 4.5 months, so many injuries, so many operations. And after, I sometimes kind of started to doubt, well, Gurudev gave me these instructions, but maybe they don't apply now. But no matter what I tried to do differently to what Gurudev instructed me, I had to come back to his original instructions. And these instructions that he's given were for then, at the time he gave, and now and forever. It was quite a journey in a sense, because I was thinking, maybe I can't live in Vrindavan again, maybe I can't travel and preach again, and all these things, but actually
I've noticed one thing. You have had a very bad accident, I've heard. It was a big truck and it almost crushed you, and you were very close to death, probably.
Definitely,
I do not know for very sure, but I've heard. And not only with you, so many more people in our Sangha, so many people, like my uncle Kashyapji, he had a head-on collision in his car. And Savitri Didi, Savita Didi.
Savita Didi,
Shamarani Didi also.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, she was, yeah.
Mrs. Modi, so many people had accidents, and none of them had fatal ever.
Yeah.
Gurudev saved everybody. In fact, I also have an accident, but nothing happened, luckily, but the car just turned and I was chanting and nothing happened. So, see, Gurudev's mercy is everywhere. He's protecting all his disciples in a very beautiful way. And see, accidents come because of, or maybe, I don't know for what, but he's always there like umbrella on us, all of us. And you are preaching so well now. In fact, I think you're preaching much more than what you used to do before the accident, it seems.
I don't know. I never preached before. I'm not preaching now, but one day I may hope to, following Gurudev's footsteps.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank all the listeners also and everyone. Tomorrow we are having a very special program, and we are going to have Bhaktivedanta Manor on our program. He's a very, very good speaker, and he mostly talks in Sanskrit, as you have seen, those who heard him. Very good speaker and very Rasik Vaishnava.
Wow.
And tomorrow is a very special day. It's the disappearance day of Srimad Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj, who himself was very, very Rasik and very close to our Srila Gurudev. They had a very intimate relationship. And Pujapad Madhusudan Maharaj is a disciple of Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj. So he's going to speak tomorrow at 7:30.
And he's sannyas disciple of Gurudev.
And sannyas disciple, yes.
Okay.
So please don't miss it. And we'll meet again at 7:30.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ajay.
Shri
Prabhu and
Guru Maharaj ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vran ki jai, Gaur Bhakt Vran ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Gurudev ki Madhur Smritiyon ki jai, Caru
Jai.
Candrika Didi ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol. Jai. Vanchika
Thank you, Harikatha Didi. Thank you. Dandavat pranams.
Yeah, Dandavat pranams to everyone.